This video contains major spoilers for Persona 5 Royal. The 16th card in the tarot deck. Number 15, the Devil. It represents temptation, dependency, and obsession. In the Persona series, the Devil Arcana is typically associated with a character with poor disposition. They tend to tempt and persuade the protagonist into their shady ideals. And that is different for Persona 5. Wow, 16 videos and we finally have an outlier. The Devil Arcana is that of Ichiko Ohya. I'm Ouroboros, and this is the Persona 5 Devil Tarot Study. If you missed my video on the Fool's Journey, I'd recommend that you watch it before jumping into this series. It goes over the Fool's Journey and gives a brief rundown of each of the major arcana, so go check it out. Anyway, like I said earlier, the Devil Arcana is all about temptation. It's a little more nuanced than that. When looking deeper at it, the Devil is all about the negative parts of yourself constraining you and your life. Really, it's the card of the shadow, the other self. I mean, I know we're talking about Persona 5 right now, but it just fits too well. Whether it's addiction or dependency or bad habits or obsession, these things are ensnaring and entrapping you. I feel this card has even more relevance in our materialistic and consumerist interconnected world. If we take a look at the tarot card itself, it's, well, the Devil. Technically, it's Baphomet, whom we should all be familiar with, but he has come to represent the devil in many forms of media. Of course, the infamous inverted pentagram is present here as well. Beneath him is a nude man and woman chained together. While it seems that these two are here against their will, the chains around their necks are pretty loose and could easily be removed. The pair are shown with horns on their heads, signifying their connection to the devil, and the tails further their animalistic and lustful desires. While these two are not enslaved, that is exactly what the devil hopes to tempt the fool with. The devil is not necessarily evil, but representative of our desire for materialistic and basal desires. And while the fool has achieved and gained much on his journey, he must maintain humility and modesty in order to continue his journey. Ohya is an interesting take on this archetype. I don't think she fits well in with the other two devils who are objectively not great people. However, I can maybe see where she might fit in. She's not necessarily tempting you with wealth or desires like the other two, but rather with information and propaganda. She is your inside contact with the media world. You meet her because she's trying to get dirt on Madarame and write a story on him, but you end up using her to get to Kaneshiro. Once you start her confidant, however, you end up in a quid pro quo relationship where you feed her stories and info on the Phantom Thieves in exchange for positive press. That's all well and good, and especially considering the themes of the fickle masses that P5 really plays into, it's not necessarily a bad trade. However, it doesn't really feel like the carnal desires that the devil typically refers to. You don't receive wealth or sexual fulfillment, and while you do receive some semblance of power, it's not in the usual form. It's more about notoriety than being able to enact tangible change on the national level. What I do believe Ohya does well as the devil is her obsession with her missing partner, Kaio. Side note, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I don't like Ohya's confidant. I actually forgot Kaio's name, and her wiki page literally only mentions the name once. It takes a bit to pry back her reporter's facade, but with the help of Lala-chan, you are able to learn why she works so much at a job she clearly doesn't enjoy at all. I mean, yeah, she's basically a Japanese paparazzi, but I don't think that's why most people get into journalism. Really though, I think that her motivations are valid. She's trying to not get you involved in the scandal since it's related to a lot of people in higher positions of power, including Shido. Granted, she gives you Kaneshiro's name, so maybe her judgment is a little lacking. But this obsession of hers rapidly spirals out of control, to the point of her angering her boss and ending up with a double workload in order to keep her in line. And also pretending to date at a bar in front of her boss, which is a whole can of worms that I'm not gonna unpack in this video. That's where I feel like Ohya earns her title as the devil. It's not necessarily her tempting you into sin, but rather her slow descent into the obsessive reporter who will stop at nothing to expose the truth. What I find most interesting is that she's not even really a bad person for this. That's literally her job. That's what she signed up to do, and I imagine that's what most of us would do if we were also in her situation. I know I wouldn't just sit around if my best friend went missing after going after some high-profile politician. That obsession unfortunately leads her to dead end after dead end, and with countless looming deadlines, she's unable to do much about it. Much like the other confidants, it's up to you to step in where she can't. By changing her boss's heart, she's able to get enough information to track down Kaio, only to learn that she suffered a mental shutdown. I wonder who caused that. This is my biggest issue with her confidant. We don't do much. We don't really see anything, we just kinda stick around in Crossroads and she dumps info on us. It's a crime that we didn't get to go see Kaio in her state. We don't really get to see Ohya move past that obsession. She feels like one of the most stagnant confidants in the game. She's still determined to expose the truth, as any good reporter would, but that's really no different from where she was at the beginning of the game. And she's still writing propaganda stories about the Phantom Thieves for you, so she's still the same there. For most of the confidants, the character slowly evolves from one meaning of the card to the other. For example, the reversed Wheel of Fortune is about clinging to what little control you may have, while the upright is about change and fate. That's pretty clearly what happens with Chihaya. Whereas the reversed Devil is about independence from those negative desires. The upright is about those negative desires controlling you. It doesn't seem like Ohya really manages to break free from those. In fact, she seems more determined to hyperfixate on her obsessions. I wouldn't even be mad if she went from upright to reversed, which is the opposite of how most confidants work, because of the nature of the card. I know I'm not the only one who thinks Ohya is a lackluster character. She frequently ranked at the bottom of tier list as a character, and for her confidant abilities. I was excited to do this tarot study for her because, like some other characters, I learned to appreciate them more after learning more about the deck. However, I find myself even more disappointed after writing this script. It's unfortunate that her character, abilities, and tarot origins all fall flat for me. Maybe that's different for you, but if you think differently, please let me know. I'd love to hear a second opinion. Regardless, Ohya's obsession with her missing partner and temptation with public influence is the culmination of her journey as the devil of Persona 5. Thanks for watching.